Hey everyone, Pro Engineering here, and this time we're going to attempt a rather quick review of a new set of products that I've been working on. Normally, I wouldn't actually go through this until I've got the car all done and pretty and everything operational, but I've been getting so many emails about Willys Wheeler parts that I've created that I'm just going to go ahead and just walk through my different products, and you can tell me what you think. Well, let's begin, surprise, surprise, with lighting. Now, the Willys Wheeler never had operational headlights, but it did have a lovely headlight bucket with a lens. I created these headlight lenses some time ago when, actually prior to the Willys Wheeler even being re-released with my original Willys Wheeler, and it was missing a number of the small little bits, so I just went and made some. Let's begin at the left. The left is a direct replacement headlight lens for the Willys Wheeler. I went ahead and kind of went down my own path with these. So these are branded with a couple of my favorite headlight and fog light manufacturers. So there is some branding on here of Hella, and on the fog light there's a little tiny Marshall cat. I've also got a turn signal, a side repeater, and this repeater here is painted, and here is the unpainted version. I don't use a clear acrylic for these. What I actually use is what's called a detail plastic on Shapeways. The reason for this is the clear acrylic I have found can have a weird fogginess to it. Now these are translucent, whereas the acrylic actually is clear. I've found a very low light loss, especially for the headlights. What I have found is a dramatic increase in detail. This allows me to make parts with really fine detail, and I think they're just a lot more fun this way. They look really nice. And same as with the Marshall light there. You're probably wondering where the heck these go. The Wheeler only came with those headlight lenses and taillight lenses, so fortunately, those are crossed off the list. I made headlight lenses because I simply didn't have any. So this would just snap right into here. I'm not actually going to snap it in because I actually have to paint this car. So no surprise there. The fog lights, now there's two buckets here. They're attached on a sprue. The fog lights go on kind of a unique way. What you're going to do is set this housing in the rear. Now you're probably saying that's not where fog lights go. Those are brake coolers, and you're absolutely right. And my reply to that is, on this car, they're fog lights. So what you do is you take the lens and the brake cooler, geez, you got me doing this now. The lens and the bucket, and you simply put the lens right in here. And then from the back, you are going to put in the bucket. And the bucket and the light basically sandwich along this rib here. And this post and this post are designed to simply put a couple of screws in, and there you go. You've sandwiched the whole lens in place, and you've made no modification to the body. These are designed for a 3mm LED, although you are able to drill the hole out carefully and put a 5mm LED in. So there we go, fog lights. I'm a big fan of not chopping stuff off or having to make major modifications, and I think those of you that have one of these cars have already noticed that's no longer the case here. Turn signal, where does this go? Well, this car originally had a molded turn signal. I know you're all saying, well, you did a really nice job of cutting this out. I mean, I'm assuming you're saying that, right? You're not being mean, are you? Wait, what was I saying? Oh yeah, turn signal. What I did here is I drilled this out with I basically just put 3 small holes in it and used some flush cutters to trim off the edge. And it just so happened that on the inside, this was the shape. So I cut those out. It took me 2 seconds. Trust me, I'm sure most of you out there are better than I am at this stuff. There you go. Turn signal. This is going to have to be glued in. And then, like the other one, you have a 3mm receptacle at the back for your LED. Lastly is our repeater. So originally there was a little boss here, which was a molded repeater. And here is the tiny little repeater. Okay, sorry, I know it's a little blurry there. It is very tiny. There's a hole in the back for, again, a 3mm LED. And I specifically did not clean this. From time to time, you're going to get parts from Shapeways that have some goo in them. Let me just degoo this one here. Okay, this is what's called support material, and I've dropped it. It's called support material, and it's just the side effect of the 3D printing process. So if you get some junk inside of a hole, just carefully clean it out. I think it's water soluble. I know some are, some aren't, but nevertheless, just get a little toothpick in there and clean it all out. This then would just take the painted one. Okay, oh, geez. There we go. Okay, that'll just pop right into there. The hole I made, I believe, is I think it's 4.5 millimeters. I know it's a weird size. The reason for that is this is a weird size. And the boss on the back had to be slightly smaller than the actual size of the lens. Otherwise, you would see it very easily here. You can also see that although this is painted orange, there's a black trim around it. I specifically left a little tiny lip along this so you can just run a paintbrush right around it and get a very nice professional looking lip right there. Like before, plug a 3 millimeter LED in there, boom, lighting. So you may be thinking to yourself, I don't really care about lights. And that's cool because I also made grills to plug that hole, that hole, that hole. Anymore? Oh, I plugged that hole. This car's full of holes. Okay, it's holes everywhere in this car. So I didn't really care for that, and I made these grills here. Okay, here they all are. So we'll start with the big one. The big one, surprise, surprise, fits into the big hole. There it goes. Okay. If you can see that. The way this works, it's not rocket science. There is a big lip around the edge, so when you drop it in place, it fits snugly around the mating rib here. Put a little dab of glue, and you're all set. The upper one works the exact same way. Just drop that in place there. Turn it around. The hold in place, there's no glue. And there is our mesh grill. My favorite piece, though, these are going to fall out. There, they've fallen out. My favorite piece is the grill for the hood scoop. Now, I don't think that the Honda City Turbo 2 actually has this emblem. And if it doesn't, that's quite a shame because I love emblems. I'm going to use the lighting here. And it's very, very hard to see this. But the edge of each letter is actually raised so that you can paint the intersection red, let it dry, and then very carefully go around this with a very fine tip silver pen and get your proper red turbo lettering with the silver trim. You'd probably want to paint the grill a black color or maybe a silver color, whatever you feel. This one here doesn't fit like the others do because there is no boss on this. You're going to put some adhesive on the edge here, and on the bottom. Flip this over, and we're just going to seat it right in there. Let me flip this back here. It's falling out. Flip it back over here, and there is Turbo 2. Almost done. So that's basically everything that I have for the body. The other pieces I made are also cosmetic. I think you can tell that these rims are not the rims that the Wheeler came with. What I did here is I wanted to alter the wheels on the Willys Wheeler. And I'm always asked, can you make these wheels? Can you make these wheels? And the answer is yes. The problem with a wheel is that volumetrically, there's a ton of plastic in a wheel. Also, its size in the X, the Y, and more importantly, the Z direction is very tall. Therefore, the cost for a wheel can be quite pricey. My estimate to basically recreate the wheels on the Willys Wheeler and make some sort of a modified version probably would be in the $90 range, and that's being rather conservative. Instead of recreating an entire rim, I went ahead and made this. This is a wheel that's very common. I would imagine really all over the place. You see these on a lot of Japanese cars. Oftentimes you'll see them on more compact American cars, probably in the 70s and 80s. I think they were called Libras. It's possible they were called other things elsewhere. What is unique about these is, I wanted to have the trim to be kind of a chrome paint, but I wanted the inside a different color. And I kept thinking, God, how am I going to spray paint this chrome and then paint this maybe a charcoal color? It's going to be such a tedious pain. So fortunately, you don't have to. There you have it. You spray paint this a color that would complement the wheel. It also gives you the ability to either paint the rim the same color or maybe have a contrasting color. I then went ahead and painted this. I used a charcoal color simply because it's the exact same color that I used on my actual car that has these rims. The result, I think, came out very nice. You can see through the spokes of the rim and see the original Willys Wheeler spokes. I went ahead and painted them a matte black to make them a little less visible. You can trim these. However, on the Willys Wheeler, many of these spokes are for actual strength, so I didn't want to bother doing that. But you are more than welcome. If you got a very light runner, maybe a shelfer, it's pretty easy to do. The front rim and the rear rim have different offsets. So the set that I have comes with 2 for the front and 2 for the rear. And it should be pretty self-explanatory when you see the offset of the wheel here. You can see how much further recessed these spokes are versus the rear. This is a cosmetic upgrade, and the Libra has always been one of my favorite wheels, so I was very excited when I finally was able to install these on this car. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video on the Willys Wheeler upgraded components. Please stay tuned as I just ordered the paint for this car. As many of my cars, this is not going to be box art. Once I get all of the body painted, I'm really excited to actually put in all the electronics for the lighting, and this car is going to have quite a bit of that because of all the turn signals and such. So this is going to be a neat little project. Please subscribe, and you'll be notified of all the latest videos. Add me on Facebook as well as Instagram, Ampro Engineering, and as usual, there is a link at the end of this video and in the description to Shapeways. Always like to give a shout out and a thanks to Blue Pinto for supplying all of the soundtracks used in my videos. Thank you all very much. Please leave a comment and subscribe.